Hi everybody. So we're going to make one of my favorite, and I think my mom's favorite, desserts. She always made this in the summertime. It's a very easy dessert to make. It's kind of one of those, it's a no-bake dessert. You can kind of do anything you want with it. And it's called trifle. So let's get to the ingredients and we'll go over a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, so for the ingredients, we are going to use blueberries, strawberries, grapes, and bananas as our fruit. We have vanilla pudding. You can use instant or the kind that you have to cook on the stove. Angel food cake. I do have 2 of these just in case I need a little extra. And we're probably only going to use 1 of the Cool Whips. And don't forget your nice little glass jar that you're going to put it in. You can literally put it in anything as long as it's kind of tall. All right, let's get to putting it together. So what I like to do is lay out a paper towel so that I can decorate the top so it looks really pretty. And I'll pick out my favorite looking strawberries. And we'll kind of make something on top so that everybody knows what's in it. The only thing I will not put on top are bananas. And I set it aside. I set what I'm going to do on top aside so that I don't accidentally cut up the fruit that I want to use as the topper. So these are pretty similar in size and color. So we're going to use all of these. Now the girls are supposed to be sleeping. I do think that I hear somebody, I'm guessing it's Guinevere, up there singing. Silly little girl. So I think I'm going to kind of make almost like a star shape, or put 5 of these around. And you can literally decorate it however you want on top. You don't even have to decorate it on top if you don't like. Like I said, bananas I don't use on top because they get kind of brown looking and are not that appetizing. And you can do this however you would like. Especially for 4th of July, sometimes I only do the blueberries and the strawberries on top, so it's very red, white, and blue looking, because this is going to be on top of the Cool Whip. So maybe we'll do something like this. That one, that one, that one. I am going to put grapes on this one though. Now I have a grape cutter, which makes it a little bit easier to make these grapes, to cut the grapes. It's very quick. You just, I don't know if you can, let me see if the camera's seeing this. Okay, so you just stick the grape in and push down and it cuts it for you. Now I do this, you don't have to, if you're not serving children, very young children, you don't have to cut the grapes. With young children, if you cut the grapes, it's easier to just serve it and not have to worry about digging through and finding all the grapes so that you can separate the grapes out and cut them afterwards. So it's easier just to cut them before you put them in. I'm just going to put a grape in between each of a half. It's going to look like a half grape in between each of these little blueberries down here. I think that'll look very nice. And if you're going to like a big party, you can put the bananas in there so that people know, but this way they know the fruit that's in there. My nan, Gigi, she was allergic to strawberries, so she would not eat this, but this way she would see that there are strawberries in here, so she should steer clear of this dessert. We would usually do something a little extra for her on the side. There you go. Sorry, my box got in the way. So that's going to be the top. Now I'm going to cut the rest of this fruit, and I'll probably just fast forward that. Now, if you notice, I am peeling the banana from the bottom instead of the top. It helps get those, I don't know what they're called. You just squeeze and then pull. But it helps get, for the most part, I'll do it on the big one, I'll peel it the other way. These, whatever these strings are, it helps get them off easier. So it peels a little bit better. I'll peel this one the way most people do. So now, oh, the strings actually came off of this one too. Prove me wrong. It's a little bit of a greener one. But you can see at the bottom, there's a few little strings that are left on there. Oh, there's a big one. So they actually come off a lot easier if you peel them from the bottom rather than from the top, if that makes any sense. Now these bananas are pretty soft, so I'm going to just slice them, and I'm not going to cut them in half and slice them. You can do them as thin or as thick as you would like. You can cut them in half if you're nervous about giving your child something round like this. And I'm not going to cut the blueberries. The blueberries are a lot smaller, which is why they're not as much of a choking hazard. Now, if you get those giant blueberries, they can be a choking hazard. So as this video goes on, you'll probably see these bananas get browner and browner. It's just what bananas do. And I've already rinsed all the fruit. I'm not sure if I said that. Now I'm going to do, yes, I'm going to do the grapes like I normally do, and I'm going to do them as we go. So I'm going to push this aside and put the bowl here so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so the bottom layer we are going to use the angel food cake. Now I just buy it. You can make your own angel food cake. You can use the lady fingers. You can use pastry rounds, if that's what you want to use. Pretty much anything. You're going to use maybe a third to a half. Lost a banana. And you're just going to break it up into pieces and just try to cover the whole bottom of the dish. That's why I got two. Sometimes it's not as fluffy. Sometimes it's too fluffy. It's always a little bit different. So you never know how much you're actually going to use. Some people do take lady fingers and just lay it all the way around. You can do that as well. I prefer angel food cake. But like I said, I've done lady fingers and it's tasty. It doesn't have to be absolutely 100% completely covered, but I like the bottom layer to be at least a little bit more covered than the next layer. So you're going to put the pudding on top of this, so it's going to soak up all the pudding. It'll be super tasty. Now I do recommend eating this within 3 days of making it. So you can make it the day of you need it, you can make it the day before, I wouldn't go any further than that because you could have leftovers. All right, let me guess. So we're gonna put the pudding right on top of this. Now, if it's pudding that you just made, it could be a little bit looser. I made this yesterday, so it sat in the fridge all night. And just kind of spread it out. I recommend letting the pudding sit for at least an hour in your refrigerator after you make it. And it's just a box of the Jell-O. I did use the extra, extra large box of Jell-O pudding. If we have a little extra, that's okay. The kids will eat it, I'm sure. There's our pudding. Now we're gonna throw some fruit in there. So we'll get some of these strawberries and we'll just sprinkle them around along with the leftover grapes that I had. We're gonna put more grapes in there though. That's pretty good. You want it somewhat even, although it's hard to make it completely even. But I do about half and half because you're gonna do one more layer of all of this. One more layer of fruit, or angel food cake, one more layer of pudding, one more layer of fruit. So half of the strawberries that you did. And you can put as many or as little as you want. You can go more fruit, less pudding, more pudding, less fruit. They get a little slippery on you sometimes. And if you don't like bananas, don't put them in. But I do recommend not using citrus. It's gonna almost curdle, I guess, the Cool Whip and pudding. Can be definitely a little different tasting if you used citrus, I believe. Okay, let's get some grapes. My hands got a little slippery. And I may not use all of these grapes either. It's easier when you pick them all off too. I will put this little gadget in the description, as well as the video of the girls eating this. Because if you have children under 5 that love grapes, this is a tool that I highly recommend. Piece of banana. So much traffic. It is 4th of July weekend. There is so much traffic. Now with blueberries, if you are in an area like I am that gets fresh picked, check them and make sure they don't have any little stems on them because that's not pleasant when you bite into it. Like this little guy. There's a little stem on this little guy. I don't know if the camera's even picking that up. A little stem on there. Pop him right off. Right, now we're gonna put the Cool Whip on top of that. And like, you can put more blueberries if you really like blueberries. You know, it's a very kind of laid back recipe. And I like the Cool Whip brand, although you can buy the store brand, but I like the Cool Whip brand only because they give you some recipes. So, ooh, easy strawberry shortcake trifle. Fun, that's basically what we're doing. Only it's many different fruits. Now, I choose to keep mine Cool Whip in the freezer, and I take it out when I start slicing the fruit. So it's still pretty solid, It's not super, super liquidy, but I'm able to spread it, if that makes any sense. And you want to cover all of your fruit. Hopefully the girls will be excited to eat this. Sometimes with them it's a weird texture thing, but with the Cool Whip, hopefully it entices them. A spatula might be easier to spread this around. I don't know. Give it a shot. It doesn't have to be perfect, just as long as it's in there. And I recommend leaving this in the refrigerator for at least 30 minutes after you make it. You can leave it in longer. Like I said, make it the day before your party, the morning of. If you're having a, barbecue, make it the morning of if you get too stressed out the night before. All right, now we are going to add some more of the angel food cake. This will be our last layer of the angel food cake. And I might open the other one, I'm not sure. Just break it up, squish it down in there. I bought 2 and got so many extra ingredients because I was going to have the girls help me make it. But then after thinking about it, I was like, well, the Father's Day video, they ate so many of the ingredients that I think I'm just going to make this by myself. For the video anyway. The next time we have this over the summer, who knows when that'll be, I'll let them help me make it so they can eat half the ingredients. There we go. So I'm not going to open the other one. All right. And then we're going to use the rest of our pudding. Or at least a good amount of pudding so that it's nicely covered over our angel food cake. If you're not a fan of pudding, use the rest of it. Otherwise, it's just going to sit in your refrigerator. Or save it for maybe a guest who may not like any of the other ingredients, and they can just have pudding and fruit. Or they can make their own little one if they're allergic to strawberries or don't like bananas. We will save ours. There's not much left, but there's enough for the girls to dip a little fruit in. All right, so now we're going to put the remainder of our fruit. You can see how the bananas got a lot browner, just sitting there in the air, which is, like I said, why I don't put them on the top. Because people definitely eat with their eyes first. I'm sure people at home are very afraid of the knife. I'm being very careful, I promise. Get some blueberries. My hands are very sticky right now. I know a lot of people ask where we get our fruit. I just get it at our local ShopRite. It's our local grocery store. We usually have pretty good luck, I guess, getting really yummy fruit that looks good and tastes good. I hope the accent's not too bad. And then this will be pretty much the last layer, just the Cool Whip on top, which I'm going to open that other container to make sure that this is fully covered. But it's a nice and summery dessert. You don't have to turn the oven on, make your kitchen hot. It's light, it's not too heavy. You know, like if you were making a cheesecake, that's a heavier dessert. This is nice and light. Try to make it somewhat even on top. Well, I try to. It almost never works out. Cool Whip is a little hard to spread unless it's like super melty. But I like it not being super melty, being a little bit firmer. It gives you a nice difference in texture. I'm not sure why the camera shut off. We're almost done here. Hopefully it stays on. I did record swim lessons this morning, so it may be running a little warm. The one downside of the GoPro is it gets hot sometimes. It overheats, and then it just turns off and says, nah, I've had enough. I don't want to work anymore. I mean, I get that way too sometimes when I'm hot. A little bit more, because I can see some fruit right here. My hands are clean. That's the one downside of some of these desserts is they're a little hands-on, but there we go. That's more like it. All right, I'm gonna wash my hands so I don't dirty that fruit. All right, so now this is why, move all this stuff down a little bit. This is why I keep my top on a paper towel. So I can literally, if I don't move it, nudge it. If I was, you know, not filming, I have different workspace. I would put all that stuff out of my way. So now we have our top, which was like this. I don't know if the camera can even see that. It's half hidden. That's okay. But you literally transfer it. So if you take your middle strawberry, you find the middle, you plop it in there. And then these little guys, this was right above it with a strawberry. And then this guy was next to him. Try to use the same pattern, and it should fit quite nicely and make the top look super beautiful. I'm trying to not get my hand in the way, but I'm sure I am. So my children can be served whole strawberries now. If yours can't, slice the strawberry, hold it together, and pop it on there, and you'll be fine. Let me move this over just to the top. Oh, I see where I went wrong. Right there. Boop. Totally okay. Still looks beautiful. Almost forgot this guy. Oopsie doodles. That goes in between there. Oh, this goes in between here. And the strawberry goes here. It's always the last strawberry that gets me. So that, my friends, is your trifle. Make sure you check the description below of the girls having it. They're going to have a teeny tiny scoop of it. I don't think I'm going to film myself scooping this out because I'm going to throw it in the refrigerator. You know what, I might. You'll probably hear them in the video running around screaming like my wild banshees that they are. So at the end of the video, or at the description of the video, I will put a link of the girls tasting this and trying this. But here is our wonderful trifle with my little napkin. Here is our wonderful trifle. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.